last year's champion, or do you want to start with last year's last?
Yeah, I think that would be maybe
last year's last. I think it probably is
because that's also
right, so
would be the first pick too. So it's kind of
picking first is Brad Young's Jeroboam Juggernauts.
Oh, really?
And he finished dead last, and he is keeping pretty much no surprise LeSean McCoy, but also Steven Jackson.
Oh yeah.
What do you think about Steven Jackson, the new scheme and team?
I mean, I think he absolutely had to keep him, given that he's with Atlanta. He's with I think I heard a statistic the other day that Matt Ryan now has more wins than any other quarterback ever in his first 5 seasons. And I mean, with his 2 wide receivers, Tony Gonzalez back, you add in Steven Jackson, who's like a hard runner, catch the ball in the backfield. I mean, you pretty much have to give him a shot, even though he's got a lot of mileage.
Well, he had he had 6 wide receivers that he passed on, but I think that you can't go wrong. And LeSean McCoy, you never know where the Eagles are going to fall from year to year, but you know they do like to throw the ball. He's a great guy in the flats. He's a great guy for getting some reception as well. So I think it's.
I mean, I think even if they completely fail and end up with 2 or 3 wins, I mean, he's still going to put up good numbers. As long as he stays healthy, I mean, he's been great out of the backfield and running the ball. So and it's a high-paced offense now with Chip Kelly. So I mean, he likes to do a lot of stuff.
Unless he might go conservative, but that's just me. I think that he's going to have a hell of a time trying to figure out who the quarterback is going to be.
Yeah.
All right, so the Rippers picking number 2, finishing second to last. Going from first to second to last is not something I like to do, but I made a big trade last year. I had to get rid of my Achilles heel, which was my running back. And so I decided, I'll name nameless, but I decided to go ahead and stick with a young upcoming quarterback that I feel that could take my team to the next 4 more championships, and that is Andrew Luck and Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah.
And just hoping that Marshawn goes in beast mode again, and really great Seattle offense. And I'm also hoping that Andrew Luck can not hit the sophomore slump and really start moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are picking the Seahawks to challenge in the West, and Marshawn Lynch, since he went out there, is really kind of seems like he's hit his groove, and it's just they're going to hand the ball to him. It's not going to be some question mark week to week like when he was in Buffalo. It seemed like there for a while.
I agree.
Andrew Luck was ranked number 60 on.
He was.
on the top keepers for 2013, but I mean, like we kind of mentioned before we started the film. I mean, and here he is on TV right now, Andrew Luck. But as far as quarterbacks go, though, you have to have a good quarterback. From my article last year, I didn't keep a quarterback, but you have to have a good quarterback in fantasy. They score a lot of points.
I agree, and it's one of those. This keeper was a total feel. I just last name McGovern, going with a guy named Luck. Match made in heaven.
There you go.
So Crash, he's still keeping the same damn 2 guys that he's kept forever. Aaron Rodgers and Maurice Jones-Drew. What do you think about MJD?
MJD's a bit of a risky pick, coming off the injury on one of the worst teams in football. But I mean, the guy has led the league in rushing. Without having his team in front of me, looking at the other people. But I think didn't he have a stable of backs?
Well, he did. He had DeMarco Murray, Fred Jackson, Ryan Matthews. He had Wilson from the Giants. He had MJD and Reggie Bush.
Yeah.
But no, he had no kicker, so it looks like he did some finagling in the offseason to.
Yeah, we have to look at that.
We have to go ahead and
look at that. They got to keep a legal roster like that.
That most people did. Unfortunately, he didn't.
We'll
so that is
talk about that.
Yeah. You're going to be the inquiries begin. But anyway, MJD is one of those guys that he came into training camp overweight. He's not going to probably play a lot of preseason. So he's one of those guys that, I think that he's got his contract now and he's going to be, he might be happy. Who knows? But it's kind of a risky pick. Scuba, who is going to be picking 4th. Last year he picked 3rd, so Scuba hadn't moved much in the last couple of years. But he's sticking with his rookie pick from last year, Trent Richardson, as well as Julio Jones.
Yeah, I just think it's solid. What he had, I mean, you have to keep those two, and it's what if you go by rankings, which I'm not completely on that. In fact, my keepers aren't based on that. But I mean, his keepers are 2 of the top 13 basically in the rankings. Julio Jones is. When I stood I got a chance to go to warm-ups in Chicago 2 years ago against Atlanta. My dad and I were on the field for warm-ups, and I saw Julio Jones was a rookie. I saw him warming up and running down the field doing routes, and I was like, oh my God, who is that? And he stood out. He's a freak of nature.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Like Andre Johnson there from.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, so the number 5th pick is going to be the Marcy's Sludge, and he's keeping my heel, Jamal Charles, but also Tom Brady. What do you think about that? How do you think Tom Brady's year is going to be this year?
Well, Tom Brady's one of the best quarterbacks of all time, you could argue. Some people would anyway. The targets are few and far between. But he has proven that he can put up major numbers and win championships with a lesser considered group of people. In fact, I just heard on the radio today that the best receiver on the field for the Patriots in training camp is the guy they got from the Rams.
Amendola. Oh no, yeah.
And that's scary. And Gronk has got health issues. Is he going to be ready for the first quarter of the season? But he's really good. Their system is consistent. You have to keep him. As far as the other pick, Jamal Charles, I mean, he bounced back strong from his injury, and I mean, you have to stick with him, I think.
The Bojack's Biscuits, they kept Peyton Manning, kind of a reach there. AJ Green, what do you think about that?
Well, I mean, personally, obviously giving up on Peyton last year simply because I felt like I was burned by him. But he came through, neck held together, didn't fall apart, put up huge numbers.
This is the guy who held down Charlie Fry. So I'm just making you aware of that.
Yeah, Peyton Manning, with Wes Welker and the other few receivers that he has could put up huge numbers. So I see where he's going. AJ Green is solid. Did he not have a running back on his roster?
He did not. He had LaShore, Stevens Howling. He had Michael Turner, who my understanding is I don't think he has a team yet.
I don't think so.
And he had Ballard. A lot of guys that were. I want to say they were one-hit wonders, but I don't think they were even one hit. So he didn't have much of a choice.
Yeah, AJ Green's solid. I like him.
Number 7, Hellraisers. He's keeping. He's got Martin from Tampa Bay and Frank Gore, the old timer. Frank Gore.
Yeah, so he keeps my youngest son's favorite player, the muscle hamster, Doug Martin, who he broke out last year. It was a great rookie pickup for him. And then you say Frank Gore.
Yeah.
The one thing I worry about him is just the mileage, but he's been so consistent. Not been gaudy numbers or anything like that, but consistent.
He passed up on. He had a great. He had run DMC, but for running back, and he also had Des Bryant, Reggie Wayne, Victor Cruz, and Crabtree. Crabtree being hurt,
a couple big names,
but he did have some good time receivers. He had to pick through as well. Number 8, Wrecking Crew. Chad Johnson. I assume he's talking Ocho Cinco, so I don't know how well that's going to help him out. I don't know if he's in the know.
He can't be Chad Johnson.
So, maybe he didn't get it. I think his cable wasn't working, and so he didn't get the reality show.
He's got to be Calvin. He means Calvin.
He means Calvin. And also
Calvin Johnson.
C.J. Spiller.
we'll give him a bone on that one.
C. Johnson.
We know he has Calvin.
Seymour Johnson is, but he's got C.J. Spiller and he had a pass up on Andre Johnson. And he also had.
He's kept before.
Yeah.
Well, C.J. Spiller, a lot of people think is going to be like a top 5 running back this year. Now that he kind of came into his own when Fred Jackson went down last year, and new coach, and some people were spouting off. They think he can, be combined yardage well over 2,000. So we'll see what happens. I mean, the Buffalo.
But again, it's Buffalo.
Buffalo's got a quarterback, controversy now. They got a rookie and they got a retread from 2 other teams. You got to wonder about that, and the new coach thing too. It's a big question mark, but the guy's talented. So
it's hard to hitch your wagon behind someone.
There's one player. I mean, there's a couple players that he could have kept in place of him, but I mean, hey, a lot of people have him ranked highest out of those that he had.
The Schnapsers. I'd like you to tell me why in the world you, first of all, kept that name over the last 13 years, but secondly, Brandon Marshall, Chris Johnson. What was going through your head at that time besides a 9% IPA?
Well, let's see. I decided to keep those 2 for several different reasons. All of them aren't necessarily public info, but I had Cam Newton.
You did?
And I had Russell Wilson on the roster, which were options. I had Gronkowski, which some people still rank as a top 24
overall
keeper. But there's health concerns there. Chris Johnson, I believe, is going to have a bounce back year. They have a better offensive line. I think they're going to recommit to the run. Hopefully, last year it was painful to watch Locker just throw the ball all over the place and not hand off. And Brandon Marshall, he's probably not going to have as big of a year, but troubles are behind him, knock on wood, and him and Cutler have a jive that is impressive, and he's just truly a beast. Impressive to watch. I watched every play last year, and I like that style. So.
All right. Rounding off the top, last 2 picks, Jane's Laser Pack. She's sticking with Forte and Pierre Garçon.
Really?
I don't think Jane had much of a choice for who she was keeping.
She's just wanted to pick a Redskin. Maybe.
I think so. and she didn't have Deshaun Jackson on her team at the time, I think. But Forte, Garçon, Forte, I can't really say so much about it. I imagine you could probably enlighten us a little more.
Well, Forte's going to have a big year if he stays healthy, just with the new offense, because Mark Trestman, our new head coach, is calling all the plays. He was the head coach when Oakland went to the Super Bowl and lost, when Charlie Garner had some crazy all-pro year, receiving and catching. He spreads the ball around, he throws it running back, they run it too. So he'll have a big year if he stays healthy. There's no doubt about it. I was hoping he wasn't going to be kept for some reason, but
I was hoping to talk more about Pierre Garçon first.
Yeah, Pierre Garçon. Yeah.
So number 11, the Jinxes. She has, some of the 2 best keepers you can think of.
Yeah.
It's Drew Brees and Peterson.
Just absolutely unbelievable. You have to keep those people.
There's not too much to say about it. They're a beast, and you have one of the number 1 or number 2 quarterbacks in the league. And again, like our number 12, Roberts, Moore-Lovin, Smollers, Foster, and Rice. You really can't get anything better.
Let me look at the roster real quick, because this is what he's kept since he inherited the team, right? These same 2 people. He did have
he had RG3, he had Romo and Kaepernick. He had 3 great quarterbacks.
He had Roddy White.
And
none of the receivers really. He had to do what he did.
Well, shoot, if you get 2 top 5 running backs,
you have to.
There's no round reason. But anyway, so that completes the 2013 Keepers will be hopefully tentatively, I think, on the 25th of August. It's a Sunday night. Look to do the draft.